Hi, my name is Jared Carreiro, and this is my Com 230 game design. So, a little bit about me. I'm a senior at UMass Boston, double majoring in communication and sport leadership administration, and I'm also minoring in management. And I, along with the help of my prompts through ChatGPT, created ISIL and S, a board game to help educate younger folks, children, about intercultural communication and kind of how it plays in our identities and other people's identities. Um, or by our, I mean, the participants, the players of the game, and kind of how it carries over into real life through definitions, questions, tasks, and just general communication and working with other people. So that was the vision for this. Originally was kind of thinking more of an in-class activity rather than a board game, and really kind of went through a lot of different processes. Thought for a second about using the foundation for this as a corporate diversity, equity, inclusion training. But kind of really circled back, focused on the board game, and really am excited about the end product because I really feel it is the best way to naturally kind of educate children on the importance of identity. That's what I really focused on. You kind of see that through the learning objectives. Um, one of them being understanding the difference between personal and social identities, how they kind of make us who we are, and figuring that out through, learning of definitions of these identities and also through real life examples, as I mentioned before. And then also recognizing and celebrating our unique identities, the unique identities of other people, and then kind of seeing, getting a glimpse of how they work together, um, and can really, really impact a team positively, by having a lot of different identities, people with, similar identities, different identities, a good mix of everybody on a team. So ISIL and S. Um, if you combine these, ISIL and S equals islands. And that is what this game kind of starts off as. Before we go into that, ISIL is this character on the left, S is the character on the right, and essentially they're guiding the players. There's four players for this game. They're guiding the players through their islands in order to make it to the city. And the city is a really diverse place full of people that have visited other islands, right? Explored other people's identities and things of that nature. So essentially, each player starts on their own island and they have to visit the other three islands, since there's four total, including their own. And, do this by answering questions correctly, um, asking other people relevant questions, and finding the right answer for like a true false question or something like that about definitions, and just really getting a grasp of what identity means in the sphere of intercultural communication. Um, and yes, so some rules, really basic rules. I think key ones to kind of that facilitate the gameplay here are that they're going to be dice. You roll them, and then the sum of the rolls, some of the numbers determines how many spaces you move. If you land on a space that is a color, you pick up the card and do the task or answer the question that, is the same color of the space that you landed on. But if you land on another person's island, then you get a postcard. And essentially what a postcard is you collect the postcards from the other islands, and then once you've progressed through the game, get to know other people, what is important to their identity that they believe is important to their identity. You get to write about it, compliment them, celebrate them, recognize them, etc. And we'll kind of jump into that real quick in a few slides. But so that's that. And then a cool thing about this game is that there's not really a winner, which to some might not sound cool, but it's really kind of about working with other people and teaching those skills. So once you finish the game, you make it to the city after visiting all of the three other islands. Um, you get to help other people reach the city as well and pick each other up. So here are the cards within the game. When I talk about you land on a certain spot, you pick up the color that, is coordinated. You pick up the card that is the same color of that landing spot, right? So you have the ISIL card, which are questions about social identity. The S card, questions about personal identity. Question card, just question. Those kind of where those definition questions would lie. Situational questions, we'll see in a second here, and then the postcard, which I was talking about earlier. And then actually a quick thing about the postcard is that the cool thing about the postcard is it's something that the players will get to bring home with them, kind of as, a token of their learning, like a souvenir. Essentially, it's kind of like an index card, and you get to see how other people view you. Just a reminder of, wow, this is really cool about my identity. Not that, not that anyone should really determine their self-worth off what other people think, but just kind of show what identity is essentially. So here's an example of an ISIL card. The question about social identity, traditions, which resonates with people's ethnic backgrounds, personal identity. Asking someone how they think they treat others. I'm really kind to other people. I'm really caring. I feel like I'm really considerate. Things of that nature could be answers to that question. And then question card, it's giving you a situation. Do we think this is an example of social, personal identity? Does it express both identities or neither of these identities? And then the postcard this is the postcard. Two, that's just saying who this postcard is going to, obviously who it's from, this is whoever wrote it. Um, and then, I really like this or I learned that. Um, Yeah, like I said, these are kind of tokens that people can take away from this game as well. And here's the game board. Um, you can see, the different landing spaces, different colors for them, the dice, the open rectangles that lead to the city once you finish up. So you play this game clockwise. So let's say our friend on the pink island moves over, makes it to the turquoise island, moves over, makes it to the green island, moves over, makes it to the orange island, and then goes up the stairs to the city. They obviously wouldn't revisit their own island. They would stop at the orange island, move up. Um, so yes. And forget if I mentioned it already, but ISIL and S are basically like the ones, trying to get everyone to the city, learn about these other identities and cultures and things of that nature, and go into a really diverse area instead of being kind of on your own island, jumping into a diverse area like a city and celebrating the identities of everyone. So yes, and then reflection on, completing this project, really learned how to be AI literate, which I know is a big point in the first lecture. And that really ties into the third point here, being aware of how, AI is able to connect your goals with what you hope to see. And, a big problem for me was I wanted an educational game and I want it to be kind of not just, I felt like a lot of my responses from the ChatGPT were about finding commonalities in identity, which I think is great. I think, establishing connections with people by recognizing similarities can be really impactful, but um, I think it is just as important to celebrate different identities. Um, Learn how to communicate with people that are completely different from you. Um, so, it was talking a lot about, oh, and then do this activity so that people can see that they're similar in this way. But I think it's important to kind of, bring all different people together as well. So that's an example of kind of how I was trying to be the human in the conversation or the interaction, whatever you call it. Um, just really, reminding the AI, hey, we need to make this more educational. Um, we need to make this, more inclusive. And then AI will give you as much as you give. But obviously you want to give it really detailed prompts to kind of get what you're looking for to really work with it instead of it just comes up with all the ideas. But one thing that I noticed as well was, if you limit it, it's going to limit itself sometimes. I know, especially in my discussion board posts through this class, I've had lengthy responses from AI, so I really tried to work on cutting it down. But in this activity, maybe it wasn't really the place to because then it cut out the postcard idea, which I really liked in the beginning. So I had to ask it to bring it back. That was just an observation, but really being the human and being mindful of what you're asking of it are some big takeaways from this project. But really enjoyed doing this project actually. I think I came up with a pretty cool game that you know maybe it could be used in real life. So thank you for watching this presentation. I'm Jared Carreiro, and this is the ISIL and S game, Islands. Thank you.